Hello and welcome to Tony's Cool Tools. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to try to explain why the top handle saw is so beneficial. I've owned this MS192TC since 2013. I had seen an arborist take down a tree and limb it, and when he put down his large saw and grabbed this little tiny saw here, I was amazed at what he could do, especially on a pine tree with a lot of branches in it. He really cut the time down in processing it tremendously. So what I wanted to do is go over some of the benefits of this saw. The question I have is, if one top handle is good, two is even better. What will explain the difference between the 192 and the 201 Pro saw. Let's jump right into the specs of both of these saws. The 192 is a 30.1 cc saw. It converts to 1.7 horsepower. It has a fuel tank that is 9.1 ounces, and the oil tank is 7.4 ounces. The TC201 is a similar saw, but has a little bit higher specs. The cc on it is 35.2, and the horsepower is 2.41. The fuel capacity is a little bit larger than the 192 at 10.5 ounces. Interestingly enough, both the 192 and the 201 oil reservoir are the same, 7.4 ounces. You would think that this would have a larger one. And the other thing that always confuses me is that I understand you use a little less oil than gas, but I always thought you had equal amounts, but that is not the case for either of the saws. These top handle saws are great for homeowners, landscapers, and arborists. They're also known as a climbing saw. The 192, being a homeowner's saw, is an all-plastic body. It is a poly body, and the one thing about this is it has a chain catch like most saws do, but it's plastic. The downside to this is if your chain should come off very fast and hit this and break this chain catch, you have to replace this whole housing. Not very good, but that's what it is. It also has a lanyard hook. So if you're in the tree or if you're working on a ladder, which you shouldn't be, you can hook this onto a lanyard and just lay it down on your side. The 201 saw is truly the pro saw. This is what most of the arborists and tree climbers use when they go up. This one has the M-tronics, or the computer-controlled carburetor. It is an all-metal body, and it has a replaceable chain catcher, unlike this one with the plastic one. The other advantage is, similar to your standard saw or your standard Stihl Pro saws, this has a summer and winter mode that you can change inside by just flicking over a little tab. It does have adjustable oil control as well, whereas the 192 or the 194 do not. The other advantage of the 201 is the Elasto Start. And what this is it has a spring in this handle, which is easier. But what I have found is that the 192 has really easy starting. In fact, I kind of like the starting on this one better than I do on the 201. It too has a lanyard hook on the back. This saw is a USA made saw, I believe in Virginia, whereas the Pro saws are all made in Germany. Here's one thing that I found very interesting. When we go in and we buy a saw, they hit us up for buying six bottles of the oil, and you get an extended warranty from 1 year to 2 year or 2 year to 4 year, whatever it may be on the products. On the top handle saw and the battery operated saw, the top handle, 90-day guarantee, or 90-day warranty, that is. And basically they follow through with, Stihl believes that these are contractor or pro saws, regardless of whether it's the 192, 194, or the 200, 201. One thing I forgot to mention with regards to the bumper spikes, or the spikes on the side here that you can push into the trees. On the 192, everything is poly, including the bumper spikes. On the 201 or the 200, they actually use metal spikes. The other thing with regards to the saws is the starting. They're both carbureted. The 200 or the 201 is M-tronic, and the 192 is a standard carburetor that you can just adjust. But with the starting procedures, you have a primer button, you have a choke, and then you have a half start or a starting position all the way at the top. You lock it in. As soon as you get your, as soon as you hear the burp the first time, you remove the choke, or you take it off choke, and you click this and it goes into the start mode. And then you can just continue letting it warm up. The 200 or the 201 saw, on the other hand, does not have a primer ball or anything. It is M-tronics, so all you do is you push it, you click it all the way to the top here, start it, and then it goes into the run mode automatically. Does not flood, whereas the 192, if you don't have the procedure down, if you don't take this off of choke right away, it will flood. And let me tell you, I've had plenty of times where I didn't use very good words about this. Let's discuss bar length now. Both saws have 6 options. Yep, you heard me right, 6 options. The 192 comes in either a 12, 14, or 16 inch as the 201, but you can get a narrow kerf bar for the 192. It's 43 gauge, not very common. The 201, on the other hand, uses the 3/8 50 gauge Pico. And what I found when I was looking at the saws here is that my 192, which I bought in 2013, has the 50 gauge on it, and you can run them both ways. The reason the reason Stihl has the option of the narrow kerf is to get a little bit more horsepower with less wood being taken out on this. But when I've talked to the dealers, they say it's not very common and they break. One other thing about the 43 is that the 43 gauge only comes, there are 2 different types of chains Stihl has. The green homeowners safety chain, as they refer to it, or the yellow, which is the pro saw. You get a little bit more performance out of it. You cannot put the yellow chain on the 192, whereas you can on the 200. They've also made some Scabbard designs. The 192 comes with the standard Scabbard that just goes over, and it's okay. It occasionally can fall off. This one's pretty decent. But what they've done now is they put the little hook on here so that when you install it, it clips on the back and hangs on pretty doggone tight. I would not raise this, just like what just happened here. I would not put anything, a rope on here to bring it up to a tree, but it does work very well for guarding the blade. Without a doubt, whichever top handle you choose, whether it's the 192, 194, 200, or 201, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best emergency saws to have in your car or truck. I want to give a shout out to Harry at the Driftless Homestead for letting me use his 201 saw. Even though I have the 192, we just took down several trees, and having two top handle saws was great. The one downside that I find working in 90-degree weather is vapor lock on these saws. The 192 definitely gets vapor lock, and it won't run for a while. You have to let it cool down. The 201 plowed right through it, no issues, did many cuts on a tree, which you'll see in upcoming videos, and was an awesome saw to have as a backup. Okay, now for the bad news, the cost. Little things cost a lot of money. They no longer make the 192, but the 194 has a price tag of $430. The 201TC M, the M-Tronics, is $799. So as you can tell, they're not cheap. And is the additional cost from the 192 to the 201 worth it for you? Only you can answer that. For right now, I have the 192 and enjoy it. At some point, I would like to get the 201. After using Harry's saw, I know it is a little bit more reliable and a little bit more horsepower. Let's show you what these saws can do. The top handle saw coupled with the AccuMark is awesome for marking your wood to 16 inches. And that's all there is to it. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it informative. And if you like this type of content, please like, share, and please subscribe. And remember, pass it forward, make the world a better place. And don't be a tool. Watch Tony's Cool Tool. Until next time, thanks for watching.